Come in, my dear companion. Come closer, there's no need to linger at the gate. The fire is warm tonight and the stone keeps its silence well. Sit beside me just here. Yes, lean back if you like. Let the day fall from your shoulders like a cloak. You've no burden here, only breath, only warmth. The embers have settled to that soft amber glow now, the kind that flickers without hurry, the kind that waits. I've watched it dance like that for a while, waiting for you, listening to the slow hush of the wind through these high arches. It sounds like a lullaby that forgot the words but kept the rhythm. You'll hear it too once your thoughts grow still. Look, there, across the stone floor. See how the light stretches long across the moss between the flagstones. I like that part best, the way light touches what we forget to notice. Even the smallest corners feel golden when a fire glows nearby. It was made for rest. The dragon is already settled. As you can see, he does not speak often, nor does he need to. His breath rises and falls in perfect time with the flame, like waves on a very old sea. When he exhales, the heat curls slightly toward us, not fierce. No, just enough to ease the chill that settles into one's bones this late into autumn. I used to fear such creatures, you know, but there are dragons, and then there are guardians of peace. He is the latter. A flame keeper, a quiet soul who listens more than most men ever do. It's safe here, friend. These walls may be crumbled and overgrown, but they remember us kindly. Ivy climbs where banners once hung, and moonlight now pours through the cracks where arrows never need fly again. I've grown fond of that, the quiet undoing of things built for battle. Let it all fade into birdsong and fern. Let only stillness remain. The scent in the air is different tonight. Have you noticed? A touch of ash. Yes, but sweetened by something green. The dragon's scales give off warmth, like damp stone after summer rain. And beneath it all there's a faint hint of crumbling rose petals, left from the old garden, I think. Time has gentled even the soil here. You're shivering, just a little. That's all right. The warmth will find you soon. It always does. Sit closer to the fire, or lean against me if you'd like. I do not mind. I've spent enough winters on the road to know that a shared fire burns better. And tonight, no one must be alone with their thoughts. Not even you. Above us, the leaves still cling to the higher limbs, rustling just enough to remind us we are not enclosed. This place breathes. It has not been sealed away from the world, only softened to keep the outside at bay. The great doors behind us are closed, not locked, not barred, just resting like us. There is no call for speech, if you do not wish it. Let the quiet speak instead. Let the fire hum in the spaces between our breaths. I'll keep watch with you, or for you, whichever you need. You've made a long journey, haven't you? Even if your feet have not wandered far, your heart has. I can tell, and it is no small thing to rest after such travel, not the kind that can be mapped. That's why I lit the fire early, not just for warmth, but for welcome. Do you see the way the flame mirrors in his eyes? The dragon, I mean. He is not asleep. Not quite. He's listening in his way, breathing the same silence we share. There's comfort in that, I think. To be witnessed quietly, to be known without having to speak. So rest now, my friend, of the quiet hour. Let the fire draw your thoughts downward, like roots into the soil. Let your shoulders grow heavy, not with weight, but with calm. There is nothing to be done, no words to remember, no promises to keep tonight. Only the slow blink of firelight, the hush of wind in the leaves, the soft, steady breath of a dragon who trusts you enough to sleep. And me, beside you, always beside you, until sleep finds us both, wrapped in stillness. Let it come, my dear one. You are safe, you are here, and you are welcome. The fire's still holding steady, isn't it? That's a good thing. Fires like this have a way of remembering how to comfort, even when we forget what comfort feels like. The heat has settled deep into the stone beneath us now. I can feel it against my legs, warming the ache behind my knees. That ache has become a familiar friend these days. Less cruel, more consistent. The kind of thing that reminds you you've lived. You know I wasn't always like this. Still, deeper, not in the beginning. There were days when I chased the horizon as if it might disappear without me, when the weight of this armor felt like purpose instead of pause. But time changes the body, and time teaches the heart a different kind of strength, one that no sword can measure. Look at this old plate on my knee. See the soft gleam there? That polish is recent. Yes, but not for ceremony. I keep it clean because the act soothes me, because the rhythm of cloth against steel is like breath. Steady, known, complete. Not for battle, not for memory, just for the quiet beauty of tending to what's carried me this far. Once, I thought I would hang it up entirely, leave it in some chapel or beneath some tree, and let the earth take it back. But something in me shifted. Perhaps it is age, perhaps it is peace, but I've come to find comfort in still wearing it, like a bark that belongs to the old tree, no longer needed for defense, yet still part of its shape. My joints remind me often that time has passed. They groan in the morning's whisper at dusk, and yet I do not mind. Pain that arrives with age is a gentle tutor. It doesn't strike like a sword, it just insists you slow down, teaches you how to listen, teaches you where to sit, how to lean, when to rest. I obey it now more readily than I ever obeyed my captains. And beside me always, this dear creature, this ancient, scaled soul who once watched me from the cliff's edge with suspicion years ago, and now curls so closely he brushes my shoulder with every breath. The bond we share wasn't forged in grand oaths or won through feats. No, it formed in silence, in long, firelit hours like this one, in shared company and unspoken trust. His eyes hold centuries, perhaps more. I have never asked how long he's lived. I do not think he measures time the way I do. To him I must be a candle's flicker, and yet he stays. He chooses to rest beside me, and in that choosing I find a rare and humbling kind of joy. There were chapters of my life filled with noise, with horns and drums and voices barking orders that echoed through stone keeps and canyon passes. But I do not long for them, not anymore. My soul has grown quieter than it used to be. I find my thoughts no longer run ahead of me. They walk now barefooted beside me. Sometimes they rest entirely, and I let them. And you, my dear friend, you have come at just the right time. There's something in you that carries the same softness I've learned to cherish. I see it in the way you listen, in the way your silence joins mine without needing to fill it. You are not here to take stories from me. You are here to share the hush between them. Do you remember the first time you sat here, just like this? How the fire caught your face in gold and the stones behind you breathed out their ancient warmth. You didn't say much then, neither did I, and still that night remains one of my fondest, not for what was said, but for what was gently understood. We are not meant to walk forever. Not even the strongest horse can run without pause, and neither should we. There comes a season when sitting still is not defeat, but arrival. When setting down the shield is not surrender, but invitation. This is that season for me. I have not taken a blade from its scabbard in a long while, not because I am unwilling, but because I am unneeded, and truly that is a gift. To be unneeded in war means there is no war near you. To rest without looking over your shoulder means peace has decided to stay. Some still call me knight, some say it out of habit, some out of respect. But to you, I would rather be known simply as an old man with stories and space by the fire. A quiet soul with calloused hands who still tends his armor, not because he expects to raise it again, but because it reminds him of the path that led here. And the path, it was long, winding, often lonely, but not bitter. No, the years shaped me slowly, like water does to stone, carving edges not out of anger, but out of patient insistence. And I am grateful for every mark. You know, it is strange to be known so well by a dragon and by a human at the same time. One who has outlived monarchies. One who has just arrived with kind eyes and a quiet soul. Yet here we are, all three woven into a single evening, breathing the same smoke, listening to the same wind. That to me is more wondrous than any tapestry or legend. Not glory, not triumph, but a shared, restful hour. That is the truest magic I've ever known. So sit with me longer, will you? Let the armor reflect the fire. Let the dragon hum in his sleep. Let our breath slow, and let me be, not your hero or your tale-bringer, but your friend. For that, above all, is the title I cherish most now. Friend, fire-sharer, quiet witness to the hush. You feel that, my friend? That hush in the air. It's different now, isn't it? Not just the silence, but something beneath it, like the breath of the earth holding still. As if it too remembers. Tonight is not just another night beneath this old archway. No, this evening is something quieter, deeper, a kind of homecoming, though no road was walked today. We're not travelers tonight, we are returners, and there's something solemn in that, something soft. I made a vow once, not the kind that's etched into stone or echoed through halls, but one I whispered to the wind while sitting right here, many winters past. I had just placed my hand against the cold lintel of the gate, still damp with evening dew, and I said, not aloud, not quite, but I said that I would return, I would come back here, not alone, that I would bring someone who would understand this place for what it is, not for what it once was. And now, here you are. You see, not everyone finds peace in a ruined gate and a sleeping dragon. Most come looking for echoes of war or remnants of glory. They peer into the broken stone and ask what was lost. But you sit quietly. You feel the warmth, the breath, the now. That was the vow, to share this space, this quiet breathing space, with someone who knows how to be here, not how to measure it, not how to record it, but simply how to rest inside it. Someone who would hear the lull in the fire's crackle and understand that it, too, is telling a story. And tonight, my friend, the lantern is ready. Do you see it there? Just beside the stone basin, resting atop that flat bit of slate. It's small, more glass than metal, more memory than flame. But when it's lit, when it's lit, it remembers. I brought it from the monastery at Windermere, years ago. A gift, they said, for those who've walked through shadows and come out kind. I wasn't sure I'd earned it then, but over time, I think I grew into it. Not through deeds, but through stillness, through choosing this life, this slow, deliberate, listening kind of life. They told me that lighting the lantern in a place of rest makes it brighter, not in fire, but in meaning, that it doesn't burn to push back the dark, but to honor it. That's a rare thing, isn't it? A flame not for fear, but for remembrance. A flame that says, we were here, and we were gentle. So that is our quiet task tonight. Not a quest with steps or dangers, but a moment of witnessing. We will light the lantern together. You and I, not with ceremony, but with presence. And in doing so, we close the vow. We give it breath, and then let it go. I wonder, has anyone ever told you what a gift it is to be trusted with silence? Not filled, not decorated, just held. You have that gift, my dear one. It's in the way you look to the flame without asking it to perform, in the way you lean back into the stone and let the ivy touch your shoulder like an old friend. You don't seek to name every feeling. You let them pass through, like wind through a bell tower. And that's rare. That's why this vow was for you. And I am no longer the knight who needed to prove things. That version of me faded beneath many moons. What remains is a man who values the slow story, the one told by warmth and breath and old stones. And tonight, it's time to share the end of that story. Do you hear the dragon's breathing? Steady like a tide drawn deep beneath the earth. He knows what this moment is. He remembers when I first spoke the vow aloud, just once when I believed no one listened, but he did. And he stayed, and he waits with us now. That's the way of true friends, I think. They do not hurry the moments. They simply remain beside you, like a campfire that doesn't speak until the world has gone quiet enough to hear it. The lantern. Yes, I'll lift it gently now. Can you hold the taper for me? There, your hand is steady, just like I knew it would be. Steady hands come from quiet hearts. That's a truth I've learned again and again. Let me speak softly while we do this. Just a few words for the flame, not a prayer. No, more like a promise, not to the world, not to history, just to this moment. Let the light remember us gently. Let it burn not to chase the dark, but to sit beside it. Let it glow where kindness sat, and mark only warmth. We were here. We were still. We were kind. The slit. And look at that. The flame is slow. Yes, but golden. Golden, like memory. No flicker of fear. No need to blaze. Just enough to be seen by those meant to see it. Place it there, will you? Just by the base of the gate. That old stone knows how to cradle light. And we can return to our spot. Let our backs find the warm hollow again. This was the vow, not some grand destiny, no triumphant return. Just this, to bring you here, to share the hush, to light a lantern that remembers peace, to say one last story with no pages, just breath. And I suppose that story is this. There once was a knight who sought no more battles, who traveled not to conquer, but to carry quiet things, who met a dragon and found not fire but a friend, who returned to an old place, not for glory but for a promise, and when he returned he did not come alone. He brought a soul who understood stillness, and together they lit a flame, not to be seen from afar, but to be felt by those who needed warmth. You are that soul. You always were. Let's sit again. The wind has changed slightly, just enough to carry the scent of moss and the soft tang of burning oil from the lantern's wick. Close your eyes for a moment, if you'd like, or don't. There is no right way to rest. There is only now, only presence. No quest remains, no map, no cause. Only the light and the breath of stone and the arms of a dragon curved behind us like wings meant only to shield sleep. And I am here, beside you, as promised. The fire's quiet now, not gone, only settled. See how it breathes, like a sleeping animal curled in on itself. Every so often a log shifts with a low sigh, and the embers bloom brighter for just a moment, then fade again, as if even the flames are remembering. That's what this hour is, I think. A time for remembering. Not loud, not sharp, just soft moments, tucked gently into the folds of silence. And if you're willing, I'd like to share a few with you. Not tales of glory or battle. No, just things I've carried with me. Quiet things. The kind that shaped me without ever raising their voice. I remember the first night I slept beside him. The dragon, not curled together as we are now. Not quite so familiar. No, back then we were still strangers to each other. Two beings resting beside the same fire, each nursing a kind of wound the other couldn't see. I had wandered here, tired not from war but from all the noise that clings to a life lived too fast. I didn't expect company. I certainly didn't expect him. He'd already made his nest in the hollow of the courtyard, his tail looped around a pillar, half eaten by ivy, his breath slow and even, like wind through the bones of a sleeping world. And well, I was too weary to fear. I didn't approach him, nor did I retreat. I simply laid my bedroll down at the far end of the stone floor, close enough to feel his warmth, but far enough to show I meant no harm. We did not speak. We did not move, but in that shared stillness, something passed between us, like a thread, unspoken and invisible, binding two lonely creatures together under the breath of night. That was years ago now, and we've been resting here ever since. Just something about sharing sleep with another soul that asks for no explanation. It's a rare trust, you see, the kind that grows not through words but through time, through proximity, through being still beside someone who lets you be. It was in those early days I began to notice the small lives that call this place home. Have you seen them yet? The mice darting between cracks in the floor. They're quick little things, but they leave behind trails if you know how to look. Tiny patterns in the dust, like script written only for the floor to read. And then the swallows, yes, those, they nest high in the rafters, just where the arches curve into shadow. You'll hear them early before the light breaks, chattering like old friends who never run out of stories. They taught me to rise slowly, to listen first before stirring, to let the day unfold itself without hurrying it along. And then there's the ghost moss. It grows only in the dampest corners of the old gatehouse, clinging to stone as if it remembers when it was forest. It glows ever so faintly under moonlight, not bright. No, just aware, like it's watching, like it's waiting for someone to notice. I touched it once, and it felt cool and pulsing, like a heartbeat laid in velvet. These small companions, they've shown me something I never learned from other nights, that the world doesn't need to be loud to be alive, that even in forgotten places, beauty persists, quietly, softly, unfolding in the corners. There was one night, I remember it more vividly than most. The wind was still, the fire low, and the dragon's breathing had slowed into something deeper than sleep. I lay back, staring up at the arch above us, worn smooth by time, and I drifted, but instead of dreams, I saw stars. Not just outside, no, inside. The ceiling above me melted away, and in its place there was sky, endless and dark and bright, with stars that moved like candle wax across glass. They dripped slowly downward, each drop leaving behind a shimmering trail. It wasn't frightening. It was luminous, peaceful, as though the sky had chosen to lower itself into this little courtyard to rest beside us. I didn't reach for the stars. I didn't try to understand them. I simply watched, and when I woke, there was no fear, only wonder, only warmth. I told no one of that dream for years. I held it close, like a jewel in my pocket. Not because I was afraid it would fade, but because I didn't want to shape it with words. Some things are better left whole and silent. And the dragon, well, he knew. He didn't say so, of course, but the next night as I lay down again, he shifted just slightly, curving his body so that my bedroll sat more fully within the circle of his warmth. As if to say, I saw it too. His hum when he sleeps is unlike any sound I've ever heard in this world. It's not a purr, not exactly. More like a long, slow breath held in the chest of the earth. Sometimes it carries a tune, not a melody I recognize. No bard has ever written it down, but it feels familiar, like something ancient and kind and carved from silence itself. I've grown used to sleeping beside that sound. I think it's why my dreams have softened, why the past no longer haunts, but simply visits, like a bird on a windowsill, glancing in, then flitting away. There are other small discoveries too, little things I've gathered across these nights. The way moonlight bends when it passes through the broken panes above the gate. The way the dragon's tail sometimes flicks, not from dreams but to tuck the blanket closer to me. The way the air smells just before dawn, equal parts moss and ash, and something like rosewood, though no roses grow here anymore. The way your breath, even now, folds into the rhythm of it all, unforced, unmeasured, but in tune. Each moment is its own ember, glowing, held, then fading, not lost, just passed on. That's what discovery is. I've learned. Not a matter of maps or milestones, but of presence, of noticing, of pausing long enough to let the world unfold, layer by layer, leaf by leaf. You've been doing it too. You may not realize it, but I've seen it in the way you noticed the ivy curling around the sword stand, in how you lingered by the fountain, fingers tracing the pattern in the moss, in how you leaned into the quiet tonight instead of trying to fill it. You, my friend, have the heart of a keeper, of a listener, that is rarer than any crown or crystal. So rest easy now. You've heard my memories, and I've seen yours reflected back to me in the soft glow of your gaze. We'll let the fire dim a little more. We'll let the dragon's hum grow stronger, and together we'll carry these quiet discoveries like embers cupped in gentle hands. No need to hold tight, no need to fan the flame. Just let them glow, just let them be. Listen, my dear friend, do you hear how the night has settled deeper now? Even the wind has grown quieter, no longer brushing through the arches, but resting, as if it too has grown tired of wandering. The fire still murmurs in its cradle of stone, but softer now. It speaks in embers instead of flames. And I find I'm speaking more softly too. as though the hush around us deserves my gentlest words. It's strange in a way. All my life I thought peace would be something to earn, something you had to claim or conquer, something won at the end of hardship, a prize wrestled from the grip of chaos. But now, sitting here beside you with warmth on my shoulders and no sword at my side, I think peace isn't something you win. I think peace is something you grow, like a garden in a quiet corner, hidden from the world's shouting. You tend it slowly. You feed it with patience. You learn when to water, when to prune, when to simply let the sun do what it knows. And over time, without grand fanfare, without songs or horns, it becomes a place you can return to, not just with your body, but with your heart. Sud. You used to think strength was in steel, in how firmly you could grip a weapon, how many paces you could march before your knees buckled. I've worn chain heavier than some men's burdens. I've stood before kings with backs straighter than truth. But that kind of strength, it bends, it rusts, it fades. The strength I feel now, here beside this fire, is different. It's not something I show, it's something I carry, quietly, deep in my ribs, where the breath lives. It's the strength of choosing rest instead of resistance. The thuzzard, choosing stillness, even when you could keep going. The saying, I have nothing to prove and nothing to fear. You know, I used to believe every dragon had to be slain, that if you saw a creature with wings and fire and ancient eyes, you were meant to conquer it. But this one, this dear soul who lies curled beside us now, he taught me otherwise. Not with words, not with displays of power, but by staying, by breathing, by folding one wing over the fire as if it were a hearth and not a threat. Not every gate must be crossed either. That's another lesson I learned too late to race back and teach the younger version of myself. Some gates are meant to remain shut, others to be passed without entering, and some, like this one, were never really gates at all, just openings to stillness, invitations, not tests. Some friendships. Friendships do not always begin with shared laughter or promises. Sometimes they begin in silence, in the quiet understanding that says, I see you, I will not ask you to be louder than you are. That is the kind of friendship I feel with you, not one built on needs or stories or expectations, but one that sits comfortably in the quiet, like two stones beside the same stream, weathered differently, but shaped by the same water. I have been watched in courtrooms, in war camps, in churches lit by flame and gold. I have heard songs sung of battles I barely remember, of victories that left no warmth in my bones. But none of those things felt quite as real as this. This fire, this stone beneath us, your breathing steady and calm beside mine. You are not asking anything of me tonight, and that, more than anything, makes me grateful, because I am not sure I have anything left to give, except this presence, this reflection, this peace, and that is more than enough. There was a time long past now when I feared the end, not because I doubted what lay beyond, but because I feared I hadn't lived well enough to greet it, that I had missed something vital, that I'd gone too fast through the parts that mattered. But I no longer feel that fear, because now I know that to live well is not to live loudly. It is not to gather praise or carve your name into stone. It is to sit beside someone you love, in the quiet, and know they feel safe. It is to warm your hands at a fire you didn't build alone. It is to breathe without armor pressing your chest, and to sleep without keeping one eye open. That is the life I live now. Not a second chapter, not an epilogue, just a different kind of beginning, one that unfolds like mist or moonlight, or a story told slowly enough to let the soul catch up. There is a gentleness in me now that wasn't there before. I don't think I earned it. I think I uncovered it, like a stone buried beneath the rush of all I thought I had to be. And I think you've done the same, whether you meant to or not. You've found your way to gentleness. It's in your voice, your presence, in the way you don't fill silence with worry, in the way you let the fire be your only answer. So thank you. Thank you for staying tonight, for choosing to rest here in this worn courtyard beneath the stars and the sleeping breath of an old dragon. Thank you for not needing me to be anything but what I am. And thank you for reminding me that endings are not always sharp. Sometimes they are soft. Sometimes they're not endings at all, just a place where the path lays down its head and closes its eyes. The flame is smaller now, but no less bright. Just, and I am too. There's nothing left to chase, no tale left to tell with urgency. Only this moment, glowing quietly between us. You are safe here, and so am I. There it is. Do you see it? The fire's grown low now. No more crackling, no sudden sparks. Just that slow, quiet burn, the kind that hums to itself and needs no tending. It's the sort of fire that understands rest. The kind that stays not because it must, but because it chooses to. Julie, we've entered that part of the night when even thoughts grow soft. They don't press or pull anymore. They drift like bits of ash in the warm air, like threads of smoke curling upward toward beams older than any name still spoken aloud. I've leaned back against the stone, and oh, how it holds me. It's cool still, but not unkind. There's comfort in its solidity, in the way it accepts my weight without complaint. I feel the age in my bones a little more tonight, but it's not unpleasant. No sharpness, just a kind of heaviness, like the pull of a well-worn cloak draped over shoulders that have carried enough. The dragon's wing has drawn closer too, folding near, not with urgency, but with that gentle instinct old friends have when words become unnecessary. It rests beside me like a curtain of breath-warmed leather, sheltering us both from the breeze that's crept in through the gate. His breath is steady. I can feel it more than hear it now, rising and falling like tide against a familiar shore. This is the part of the evening I love most. Not the beginning when the fire is built and the tales begin. Not even the middle when laughter sometimes stirs and memory rolls in like mist from the hills. No. I love this when everything slows, when nothing more is asked of us, when the only story left is silence and the only answer needed is presence. And you, dear one, you are still here. That means more than I know how to say. You could have left earlier. You could have let the hush lull you into sleep and drifted away before this moment arrived. But you didn't. You stayed. You stayed until the night softened enough to hold us both. There's no more task before us. Nothing pressing. Not even the weight of memory feels sharp anymore. It all softens here, in this hour. Even the regrets, even the wondering, they lay themselves down beside the rest of it, and exhale. There is, however, one last thing I'd like to do before I close my eyes. You see that lantern just there? The small one with the curved iron handle and the little crack in the glass. That's the one I've kept for this very moment. It's not large. It won't light the whole courtyard. That's not its purpose. Its glow is meant for welcome, not warning. I've always liked that, you know, that a flame can be an invitation, that it can say, here is warmth, here is rest, here is peace, without a single word. That's what I hope this light says tonight, to any creature, any soul wandering nearby, even if they never step closer, even if they only see it from a distance. It will still speak. Here, let's light it together. I'll hold the lantern, and you, if you'd be so kind, strike the flint. Just once. That's it. There, it sets lit. Do you see how the flame moves? Not wildly, not like the campfires we used to build on the road. No, this one flickers with a sort of quiet intention. Small, steady, golden, like a thought held close to the heart. Like a memory that refuses to fade. I'll place it there, just at the base of the gate. Not too high, not too far, right where the path bends inward, where moss creeps between the stone. It's a humble place, but one that knows how to carry light. That sip's done. Now we rest. Not just the kind of rest that refreshes the body, but the kind that lets the soul lay down its questions. The kind that doesn't ask for tomorrow, doesn't bargain with time, just is. Like firelight on old stone, like breath rising in rhythm with the stars. I feel it now, in my limbs, that slow release, that heaviness, the way the bones begin to settle deeper into their joints, the way the heart beats slower, not from weakness, but from permission. I think, if I were to describe true peace, it would feel like this. Not the absence of sound or trouble, but this joining of breath and stillness, this knowing that nothing more must be said, that simply being is enough, and that you are here. That is enough too. You've given me something tonight, though you may not know it. Your listening, your warmth, your presence, you gave it without trying. And that makes it more precious than anything earned by effort. You gave me your being, and that is a gift beyond measure. So I thank you for sitting with me, for staying as the fire dimmed, for being still when the world so often forgets how. And now, if you'd like, you can lean a little closer. There's still warmth enough for two. The dragon won't mind. He's always shared well, and the fire, though smaller, has grown more patient. It glows not for show, but for company. You may close your eyes now, if they set are heavy, or leave them open, and watch the lantern sway just slightly with the night air. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to carry. The world is distant now, and soft, and we are exactly where we are meant to be, beside each other, beneath the hush, within the glow. Sleep, if you wish, or simply rest. I am here, and the light remains. Sleep now, my companion of the quiet flame. There is nothing more to carry, nothing more to say. The gate behind us will not close. It has no need. It simply rests as we do in the hush that lives between endings and beginnings. And perhaps that is all peace really is. Not the absence of sound, but the stillness that asks for nothing. I can feel the warmth of you beside me, the steady breath, the way your weight has settled into the stone with mine. We are no longer two travelers keeping watch. We are only here, present, safe, carried gently by the breath of the night. Do you hear it? The wind has left the high arches. It no longer wanders, it lingers now, soft against the edge of the firelight. The dragon sleeps beside us, his chest rising and falling with the rhythm of old rivers. Every few breaths, He exhales a plume of smoke so faint it curls like thought, slow, silver, and without hurry. This place does not need our voices anymore. It remembers us in warmth, in shared silence, in the gentle beat of hearts no longer striving. You are not required to dream, nor to remember, only to let go. Like a lantern released, like a flame settling low, but steady. We are beneath stars now, not counted, not named, just witnessed. Above, the sky is wide and weightless, a ceiling of quiet wonder. It does not press, it does not judge, it only watches softly, kindly. The way I look upon you now, there is no gate to pass through tonight, no watch to keep, no footsteps to follow. This is where the path lays down its head and folds its hands. This is where you are received, not as a guest, but as one who has always belonged. So sleep, dear heart. Let the hush carry you. Let it cradle your limbs and smooth your breath. Let it draw a soft veil over the stories and the seasons, until even your name becomes a whisper curled beneath the moss and stone. I am still here. The fire is still glowing. And you are held in the gentlest part of night.